That was terrible.
I don't remember.
God, it was terrible.
We are terrible at this.
Bill,
We're trying.
Bill.
Oh no! We suck again! I'm Jonathan. This is AntiPurist.
I'm Jonathan. I'll be hosting this evening's
Between two hot rods.
Between Two Unfinished Projects.
There we go. There we go.
So yeah, we're gonna get into this turd nugget,
Yep.
and you get to do it all.
No.
But I'll do some. So this is a 1989 CRX SI. It is a clean title car, never been in an accident. But you got to remember when Jonathan built this car years ago, they were just cheap old Honda, so it was no big thing to cut it up. How much did you pay for this car? Do you remember?
800.
So 800 for a clean roller. Not gonna happen today. So currently it has LS VTEC in it, built motor. The engine was built by two of the guys that actually work for Underground Racing. No, they won't build a motor for you. This was done years before they started working there. Has a full race. It started out with a complete full race turbo kit, the first one that was sold to the public. As a matter of fact, it was so early, is how we know it was the first one, is it didn't fit. Problems with the intercooler piping, clearance of the radiator, all kinds of stuff didn't fit because apparently they had prototyped the car on a car that had a JDM front end and they didn't know. So nothing against full race, because as a matter of fact, they supplied all the stuff that it took to make the car, to make the turbo kit fit. So great guys. Yeah. It's a hand. This is one of the hand welded ones. The divided manifold. None of their emblems or anything on it. If you could see it under the cover, it's just bare. It was, like I said, it was an early model. I don't know a whole lot to say about the car. Jonathan had a real thing for the car being really light, so it ended up with a lot of race car parts on it. Fiberglass doors, fiberglass front end, headlights still fit in a fiberglass front end. So it was a street legal car. It will be a street legal car again. It was driven, he drove it to work like that. We went to lunch in the car like that. We just drove it around like that and had a ball with it. It's an absolute loony car, but it fits the kind of stuff, as you see, that we like to do. I mean, you look at this, you look at the Volvo, it says a lot about us. After the car went to Pink's, went to the one in Rockingham, we had a problem with, we had an oiling problem that was taken care of. We needed a catch can on it, basically. That's what it needed.
Please remind them the year. Because it seems like easy shit now.
Yeah.
But it was 2006 or 7.
Yeah, I think it was 2006 maybe. And it was, so we figured out it needed a catch can for it. Did the catch can, ran it again at Pink's and Z-Max. So the week before Pink's had come, we had done some testing in the car. We knew that they wanted a 10-second car. It's generally what they were focusing on. So we took
approached, kind of.
Yeah, we kind of knew that's what they would be looking for.
There were some people in suits that came over and looked at the car.
Yeah, really interested in it. So we turned, not to say we turned the boost down, the boost controller was off. It was on the wastegate spring, 10 PSI. Third time Jonathan had ever been down the track, and the car ran 10s. Perfect.
And then somebody wanted to stop for the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely should have ran it a few more times. We may have figured out the problem then. So comes the next week, Pinks. Had a problem, didn't want to stay in gear, and Jonathan was like, fuck it, I'm gonna hold it in gear. Launched the car. Diff blew up, split the trans case.
I think that's still one of the most epic trans pops I've ever seen. Well, I was in the car, but the video from behind, which will enter in now. But I've never seen a trans grenade like that.
Yeah. So everybody goes, you get the oh, and the guys that were running Pinks, you could tell they were disappointed that the car transmission blew up. Well, nobody thought it was a transmission. People thought it was a motor because it just boom, smoke. It just looked like the car was done.
But then you hear the
ring, ring, but it's not going anywhere. Within a few hours, located another transmission. Unfortunately, it's another small shaft cable, open diff trans. Put it in. Decided we were not going to launch quite as hard. Didn't matter. They had prepped the track a whole lot better the next week, and
we made it down once. We made it down once, right?
Oh, that's right. We did,
13-2. We had fuel cut problems.
yeah, and also I think you just kind of rolled out because you were wanting to make sure that everything else was good, so we weren't getting
We
on.
ran like a 13-2 at like 130 something.
Yeah. So we knew the mile an hour was where we needed it to be because the car was, for the few runs that it did make, consistent 60-foot time, so we knew where it would run. Next run, blew the transmission up again the exact same way. Diff exploded, no open differentials. Don't race with those. Blew the diff up, split the case again. Actually, I think it was a lot worse the second time. First one was worse? Okay.
The second one, I drove it onto the trailer.
Did you? Oh, that's right. It was you could hear it. Yeah. Yeah, but it pretty much did the same thing. So after that, understandably, Jonathan was frustrated with the car, but he was gonna do some more stuff to it. So maybe put it back together. Got the hydraulic trans for it, and started to switch it over, and then started pulling it apart. He decided to cut the front end a little more to make it lighter, and just life got in the way, like what happens with all of us. Kind of stuck the car in the corner and got bit by a black widow, and then left it alone. So what our intentions are now is we've been talking about this car for years. It's been at his house. I really think he was going to crush the car. I think that was going to happen. The cage needed to be redone, which is something we're looking at now. It needed to be updated for as fast as we thought the car could be. Sure, turning the boost up to 20 pounds will make it a lot quicker. So, but he was done with the car. So I ended up acquiring the car from him. And like what happens always, I worked on it for just a tiny bit, fixed like one thing on it, and life gets in the way again. It sits in the garage for, I don't know, 3 years at my house, maybe. And we, as usual, fueled by our stupidity juice, started talking about the car again. I was like, I think maybe we should pull it out of the garage and put it back together, and let's see what happens. So here we are.